Welcome to Trumpland, where the ice might be temporary, but the money is forever. Enjoy our signature attractions like the gold-plated igloos, the polar bear rodeo, the drilling fields. Enjoy a drink of the freshest water from the glaciers, which are definitely not melting, no matter what the fake news will tell you. And remember our motto: make Greenland, make him rich again. I wasn't going to talk about this in my last video a few months ago, where I talked about Trump's effect on the Arctic and I predicted a bunch of this stuff happening. I promised myself I would move on to generally more fun and interesting topics, but then he kept on going, and then he just threatened to invade Greenland again. So, alright, here we are. Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States, has said a lot of things that would make an Amway salesperson go, it's a bit dishonest.
They're eating the dogs.
But as I'm sure we're all quite aware now, Trump seems dead set on somehow acquiring Greenland. Although, let's be real here, he just wants to have his own personal massive island. If any Americans think he actually wants you to go there, I have a platinum premium package with Amway to sell you. There's no point going over the timeline of Trump's obsession with Greenland. I did that in the last video, and that's pretty much all that's been going on in the news. So let's get into the details, because while Trump keeps saying he wants Greenland, I've never actually heard him say why he wants Greenland. So I thought, let's get into the details. Let's get into exactly why does Trump want Greenland, how he might take control, and what would happen if he did. First up, the question which we've all been asking ourselves since that fateful day in 2016. Why? There are two distinct whys Trump wants to take control of Greenland, and the worst thing is that they aren't illogical. They aren't ridiculous, silly reasons. There's genuine reasons that the US would want to take control of Greenland. I wish that I could say Trump actually believes that the Greenland ice sheet is where the creamy filling of Krispy Kremes comes from, or that narwhal tusks are magical golf clubs. But Trump's interest in Greenland comes from two places: security and mining. The US grabbing land in the Arctic isn't new. Alaska had been proudly Russian for about 150 years until 1867. Russia had hunted the place clean of all of its seals and its whales, and they became quite aware that the unhinged neighbour next door, in the form of the British Empire, hadn't invaded anyone in about 5 minutes. They heard the sipping of tea and the chewing of crumpets, and they went to America and they said, take it, take it, we don't want any part of that. The US accepted the deal and only paid 2 cents an acre. Winnie the Pooh's 100-acre wood is worth less than a McDonald's sausage burrito. Which, wait. Eeyore, did you ever find your tail? Oh, bother. That was the US's first land grab in the Arctic, and for the longest time, that seemed like it would be it. Flash forward to World War II. A bunch of Tesla owners had taken over Denmark, and the Allies realised that Greenland, along with the entire Danish Empire, might fall along with it. At the time, the Danish Empire consisted of Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and Greenland, all of which basically makes up the North Atlantic Passage connecting Europe to North America. So securing that passage and its safety was deemed very, very important, and definitely not something that Nazi control could come under. So the UK invaded Iceland and the Faroe Islands. Side note, the UK invasion of Iceland is a slapstick comedy that deserves a video all on its own. The US clearly didn't feel the need to make a Zucker Brothers film of an invasion of Greenland.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
So the two countries basically just came to an agreement where Greenland would declare its own self-rule and the US would take over protection of the island. The US built a military base on Greenland, stationed a bunch of units there, and actually that military base has been there ever since, and the US has maintained a fairly sizable military presence in Greenland for a very long time. We'll get into the details of this mine a bit later, but there was a group of soldiers stationed at a mine in southern Greenland because that mine was pumping out material very important to the war. But once the war ended and those soldiers left the mine, can you guess what kind of reading material they left behind? Eh? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Inuit of South Greenland. They got Sears catalogues. Oh boy. Oh, capitalism. Suddenly Sears were getting orders of fridges and stoves to be sent over to Greenland, and credit to them, they did it. Just imagine these Inuit communities, which had largely been subsistence hunting for the longest time, very kind of primitive technology, suddenly being introduced to mini fridges? Introducing man caves to a country is just a net negative, I'm sorry. As soon as table football arrives to a country, it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey but in reverse. In the modern day, largely the likes of US, Greenland, Canada, Russia, these major Arctic powers, didn't think about their north coasts up until very recently, because they didn't have to. The nearly impervious wall of ice that makes up Arctic sea ice has just been a natural form of protection for those countries in their north coasts for hundreds, thousands of years. But as the Arctic warms like a car seat that really has you considering adult diapers, that border fence is getting filled with holes and falling down.
How did a decrepit old man like you ever get in a war?
This has been both a crisis and opportunity for these northern nations, with suddenly new ocean trade routes opening up where never possible, creating shortcuts around the world, and shipping company magnates, dollar signs lighting up their eyes. But remote borders, and shipping lanes especially, are very vulnerable for enemy action, sabotage, things like that. And Finland will attest to this. The pain of having Russia as a neighbour in the last 2 years, barely a day goes by anymore without Russia sabotaging some Finnish undersea infrastructure and then rolling a Nat 1 deception check as they really tried to promise it wasn't them.
I assure you, I am innocent.
Give me a natural one.
And it isn't just Russia being a problem in Arctic waters. When all these trade routes started opening up, suddenly China realised, oh my god, we're an Arctic nation. Oh, we deserve the resources too. We'll give them back. They were actually ours the whole time. So now Chinese military ships and aircraft are flooding the Arctic, all in the name of because we can. And while Trump enjoys his boys' nights with Putin, he's always been a bit suspicious of China. And he really believes that US needs to combat China, especially in the Arctic. The problem, of course, when it comes to combating China, and to a lesser extent Russia in the Arctic, is that the US has an Arctic-capable fleet about as big as me, and Russia and China have been building ice-capable ships for decades. Trump is well aware that if he can't beat them in the sea, maybe a massive land grab will do well to assert his authority. But why? Why are China, Russia, the US, aside from shipping, why are they so concerned with establishing control in the Arctic? And that brings us to the second, and I'd say the biggest reason for taking control of Greenland: mining and critical resources. We know that Greenland is sitting on a semi-literal gold mine, and it could be sitting on a Scrooge McDuck-esque bottomless pit of money. 80% of Greenland is a big ol' ice sheet, like that time you accidentally bought a queen-size duvet for your king-size bed. I get it, you were trying to be a feminist ally by getting the queen size, but now your toes are exposed and are gonna get eaten by the under-the-bed monster. The remaining 20% of what we know is there is already a treasure trove of precious metals and minerals. As of making this video now, there's actually only 2 mines currently active in Greenland, one producing gold and one producing feldspar.
Hey Bart, I fixed my rock tumbler. What do you say we turn this baby loose on some feldspar?
Yet this is the current status of the known mineral deposits. I mean, look at that map. That is insane. If Greenland were to be exploited to the fullest possible extent, it would have the second largest reserves of minerals in the world, only just behind China. Twice as much as Russia, twice as much as Brazil. And for a world that is really struggling to cope with China's dominance in the rare earth market, and the fact that in the last few years, China has, first off, it banned the exporting of technology to produce rare earth minerals, and then just a few months ago, completely banned the export of all rare earth minerals to the US. With all that in mind, Greenland is being seen as a bit of a saviour.
I'm not here to flatter you, I'm here to save you.
There's an extensive EU report all about this issue of critical minerals in Greenland, and the EU consider 34 different minerals to be of critical importance to the progression of modern society. And Greenland is home to at least pretty decent sized deposits of 31 of those materials. The minerals range from things we know all about, like copper. You know, the thing that stick is made of that you scrape your tongue with, because apparently we're applying ridiculous beauty standards to the slab of meat you hide away from the world at all times. That's essential to modern society. You hear me? You may take our lives, but you'll never take my anxiety about me bad breath. And there's things which I thought only existed on Pandora, like praseodymium, which apparently is used for making high-powered magnets, electric vehicles, jet plane engines, and cigarette lighters. All the important things. That is a huge reason why Trump wants Greenland. And honestly, it makes his reasoning seem less crazy, right? The world needs critical minerals. Technology, and especially renewable technology, is desperate for these rare earth critical minerals. So if the EU and US want to keep moving forward, there's a very good chance that Greenland needs to get involved. Just a point though about that EU report. So you see, the EU realised, oh wow, Greenland is really important. Do you know what the EU didn't do? It didn't invade, it didn't threaten, it didn't issue tariffs, didn't generally be a dick. Do you know what it did do? It came to an agreement with Greenland. It made an agreement about developing projects and sharing resources. Wait, that was an option? To not be fascist. Now, have you guessed the missing link in the story here? I'll give you a clue. It rhymes with Tusk. Lucky working class lad from Canada. I got that wrong. Anyway, Elon Musk. Before he was hiring unelected teenagers to run the US and snorting ketamine like Dumbo by a bag of peanuts, he was the renewable tech guy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, good idea for an electric jet.
You do?
Yeah.
Then we'll make it work.
Look, there he is in Iron Man 2 talking to Tony Stark. Oh, so cool. But think about all the industries that Musk is involved in. Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, Neuralink, or as I like to call it, the best IQ test ever made. And of course, Twitter. Gotta burn rare metals to doom scroll like a pro these days. And although Musk does have plenty of his businesses operating in China, with him Grima worm-tonguing his way into the US government, China might not be so favourable towards him in the near future. So I have a strong feeling he's very much pushing Trump towards taking full control of Greenland. After all, what's the problem, right? After all that, it just seems like there's nothing but benefits. Greenland is an all-inclusive resort. Now, I've probably been sounding very pro-mining now, and while there is a real need for the world to increase its supply of critical minerals, rare earth metals, there's a bit of a stumbling block. You see, I've got a secret for you. Greenlandic people live there! Greenlandic people live there! Greenlandic people live there! Greenlandic people live there! Just imagine if someone showed up at your house and said, hey, your basement's full of gold. We're gonna need you to move out while we demolish everything you've ever known, okay? But don't worry, we'll give you some of the money. Eventually. Maybe. And the allure of turning your homeland into the world's largest open pit mine, it just doesn't seem to resonate with the people of Greenland for some reason.
I don't understand you when you talk like that.
In 2021, Greenland had what you might call a come to Jesus moment. The Kvarnafjeld rare earth and uranium mining project was set to make Greenland a global powerhouse when it came to mining. That single project was valued at around $7.5 billion. But local people hadn't forgotten what had happened with mining in its recent past. Greenland opened a series of lead and zinc mines in the 70s, and the subsequent pollution from those mines is still causing health problems for people and the environment 5 decades later. So in 2021, Greenland went to the polls for its prior election. The election was dubbed the mining election, and the people unequivocally voted against mining. And Greenlanders celebrated the prioritization of their health and well-being over pure economics. The Inuit, that make up around about 90% of the population of Greenland, have this crazy idea that the home they've lived in for thousands of years is somewhere you want to live. It feels weird when I say it. I don't get it. I don't like it.
Everything is so woke these days, it's out of control.
Because of climate change, their traditional hunting grounds and natural environments are already disappearing faster than my motivation to go to the gym, and large-scale mining across the country would turn the landscape into the aftermath of a Transformers battle. That Greenland ice sheet I mentioned earlier, that's covering 80% of the country, well, that's basically one of the last things stopping us from living in the world of flow. And there is the temptation to let the ice sheet melt, because if what we know is there is so valuable, what on earth is under that ice sheet? It's probably ridiculously valuable. There's probably insane treasures and stuff we've never heard of underneath that ice sheet, right? Just let it melt and see what happens. But if heavy industry takes hold in Greenland, then ice melt, permafrost thaw, it's going to accelerate. Like my motivation to go to the gym after I've been watching Vegeta standing in the rain. So, we need the minerals to transition away from fossil fuels into renewable energy. But we can't just go all drills blazing to get it. Drill. You know who's been really good custodians of the land that they live in? The indigenous people that live there. So just a final thought on that, Mr. Trump. Did you know you don't need to invade somewhere to maybe get something that you want from it?
Lies and slander!
So that brings us to how. How could Trump conceivably take control of Greenland? There are basically 3 scenarios ranging from probably won't work to definitely should not work. There's the checkbook solution.
Money, money, money.
Donald Trump's typical way of doing things, which involves promising huge amounts of money and then never giving it. He's floated numbers around in the millions and the billions, which honestly kind of seems like lowballing when you consider that just that one mining project we mentioned earlier is worth $7.5 billion. It would be like trying to buy the company Amazon with a $10 Amazon gift card.
I mean, people will think I'm cheap.
Denmark has repeatedly said nej tak, but there is the proposed bill HR 1161, the utterly absurd Red, White and Blue Land Act of 2025, which would grant Trump the permission to start negotiating with Denmark to purchase the island. We might be seeing some rather creative financial engineering attempted in the near future. There is the slow creep, probably the only one of the 3 which I can see to a degree happening and maybe working, because it is already happening. The US has maintained military bases, like I've said, for a very long time, and the Trump administration has been pushing for more investment in current infrastructure and new infrastructure, and Greenland has a new election imminent. It probably has already happened by the time I published this video, so hopefully it's gone well. In the run-up to the election, interference has been well on the agenda, including Trump making ridiculous promises to Greenlandic people, like making them US citizens, promising them bags of cash. So the insidious nature of those creepy, stubby fingers working their way into the crevices and fjords along Greenland is something that could work eventually. And there is the classic, the freedom option. Now, Trump has been rather vocal about this one, simply saying, well, let's just take it. Because, nothing says land of the free like forcibly annexing another country, right?
Resistance is useless!
Although this time the military involvement in Greenland won't be quite the same as in World War II, and the US just might have to ask themselves,
Are we the baddies?
let's break down exactly why that would be as popular as a MAGA hat at a Copenhagen cafe. First up, Denmark's NATO member, and so is Greenland. That alliance where everyone promises to defend each other. Article 5 of NATO states that an attack on one member of NATO is an attack on them all. So if the US decided to pull a Putin and embark on a special mining operation in Greenland, they'd technically be attacking Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Canada, and 26 other countries. Something tells me that Mr. Putin's recent activities have made the world realise you can't just sit back and hope for the best anymore. So I do think that any sort of encroachment in Greenland would lead to a full-on retaliation. And let's compare this war to more recent ones that the US has been involved in as well. Nazis, clearly the baddies. I think so. Vietnam, far away, full of foreigners. And the Middle East, seriously. Name an American piece of media that doesn't paint the region as full of suicide bombers and people that just can't help it but love to be waterboarded. In terms of PR, those are the easiest wins since... Neat. But an attack against Denmark? You're attacking a democratic nation. You're attacking white Europeans who invented Lego and whose only crime is having something that we want. Are we in kindergarten again? Imagine the headlines. US invades country at the top of the happiness rankings. America liberates Greenlanders from the horrible hygge. Danish pastries renamed Trumpsties. I think I just vomited a little. And you think the Viet Cong were tough? Try fighting people who live in minus 40 degrees Celsius their whole life, know every crevasse and fjord, still actively hunt on this land and have been for thousands of years, and most importantly of all, they know where to hide from the polar bears that are real pissed because they heard what you've been doing to the ones in Alaska. So I don't know, man. A boring old trade agreement, right? That seems like something that could work. Greenland has actively said, Jesus Christ, US, we want to trade with you. We want to do this. What the hell are you doing?
Language.
I have a feeling, Trump, that establishing some great trade relationship with Greenland and getting this new source of rare earth materials into the US and developing the tech industry like never before, that's a good legacy, right? Or just continue to keep shitting yourself in public every 5 minutes until your heart finally does the substance and Ronald McDonald bursts out like a reverse piñata. Let's say he does manage it though, by some weird twist of fate and continuation of this ridiculous timeline we're on, Greenland becomes US territory. That's right, welcome to Trumpland, where the consequences somebody else's problem. Enjoy our new luxury beachfront properties. Don't mind the fact that they're sinking into the melting permafrost. Don't mind that the methane bubbles that are being released by the permafrost melting are causing random explosions everywhere you go. Don't mind the entire neighbourhood that collapsed the other week due to an unforeseen sinkhole. What was already the best water in the world has been Trumpified. That's right, this water, it is a bright, glorious orange from all the acidic mine leakage into the groundwater, the heavy metal contaminations that are going through all the rivers and tributaries. That's just free iron in the blood, isn't it? Long gone are the crystal clear glacial streams. Now, we've got forbidden Fanta. Come enjoy the glorious wildlife on offer. Marvel at the last remaining polar bear, sporting a MAGA hat of course. Enjoy the silly circus fun of seals trying to get on land while they're covered in oil. See the incredible sight of thousands of whales beaching themselves onto ground because of the mining exploration all around the ocean. And enjoy the fact that there's no migratory birds coming into this nation anymore because of the Great Wall of Trump. We accept no migrants, not even in birds. And the traditional communities that used to live here before? Pff, who needs them, right? Traditional hunting grounds? That's a Walmart. Ancient fishing spots? Pff, where else are you going to put the mining waste for free? Sacred religious sites? Oh, sounds like a hotel to me. Community gathering places? Give me a golf course, boy. Traditional crafts? Pff, Trump keyrings. And the job opportunities? Oh, you're all gonna be so rich after this. We're gonna mine like crazy until the resources run out. You're all gonna get employed on my golf courses until they sink. The casinos are gonna employ thousands of people until no one's got any money left. And there's a never-ending need for people to shoot protesters. Now, realistically, if Trump were to take control of Greenland and get his way, it would see a major expansion of heavy industries, the removal, dilution of traditional cultures. It would see the basically environmental destruction of this somewhat untouched land. And while these things can all seem like wishy-washy, radical left bullshit things, as I've mentioned earlier, Greenland is a country which is single-handedly holding back environmental destruction around the world. There is a very good reason to keep Greenland the way it is. Yes, there's a very good case to be made for good mining practices, and even though I did say there's only 2 mines currently active, there's about 100 mining exploration licenses currently active as well. It's not like they're just ignoring this. They are, as I said, the EU's come up with this agreement. There is a real push to start exploring mining. Even though people were very much against the uranium mine, people nowadays are more on board with the fact that, okay, we do need to start looking at this. But guess what? The Inuit people actually have well-being in mind. And I'm being serious when I say that the well-being of Greenland is very, very crucial to the well-being of the rest of us. So what do you think? Would you want to go to Trumpland? We've talked about a lot of things here today. Do you think he'll manage to take control of the country? How might he do it? What price do you think he'll end up paying for it? I appreciate you sticking around for all this. I desperately hope this is the last video I will need to make, hopefully for good, but preferably just for a long time. Give me a year. Give me a year off not needing to think about Trump and the Arctic. That would be great.
Oh, what a stupid blunder, and you'll never forgive me.
But whatever happens, I'll keep a close eye on things. I'll let you know if there's anything important coming up. As always, if you've enjoyed things here, give me a like, subscribe, comment, all those things. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.